And also know that addiction shouldn't be a crime, and we shouldn't throw people in prison that didn't commit a violent crime and turn them into violent criminals. Our country tried prohibition back when they passed the 18th Amendment, and just think of the difference in that period of time. They actually amended the Constitution to change this and give the power to the government. Today, the government just doesn't and never think about it. But that was a total failure, so the people woke up and said we had to repeal the prohibition. And today, though, I think we're making great progress. When you see Pat Robertson coming out and saying, "Hey, let's look at this more carefully," and he, like I, was very reserved about saying drugs are dangerous, but there's a lot of danger. Who's responsible for protecting you against yourself? When the government thinks they can do that, they'll regulate every single thing you do. They'll tell you how much salt you can put on your food, and how much exercise you have to do. But not only doesn't it work, it costs a lot of money, but it's also one of the excuses for the violation of our civil liberties. And guess what? Guess who some of the organized efforts are against the changing the drug laws? Alcohol companies. They don't want people using something in place of alcohol. Also the drug companies. What if you started using something that you could grow in your backyard and you didn't buy all those expensive drugs? But the issue for me is not the drugs. The issue for me is liberty and who makes the decision. Because one thing leads to another. Today, if you decided you wanted to drink raw milk, you might be prohibited by the federal government from drinking raw milk. Not just because there's such a poor understanding on the war on drugs. There was a product, a commercial product that we had for years. The founders grew it in their backyards and in their fields. And we used it during World War II. But because of the war on drugs, they prohibit this country from growing hemp. Now one of their excuses is that, well, it looks like marijuana. They say they better not do it. I say, yeah, but if somebody wanted to get high on hemp, they'd have to smoke a cigar as big as a phone pole. But once again, it's back to our confidence. Who's going to make up our minds? But all this freedom doesn't work, though, unless we do one thing. We have to assume responsibility for ourselves. If we assume... If we assume, just like in economics, the government's always the lender of last resort and they bail out the big guys, if the government is always the protector of last resort, if you do something that makes no sense and you do harm to yourself, you shouldn't be able to come and coerce your neighbor to take care of you. So freedom does imply responsibility.
Right. Yeah!
John Adams argued the case that if we became a less moral society, an immoral society cannot have liberty because they abuse it. And in many ways, I think this is what's been happening to us. I think a lot about the abortion issue and the problems that we've had there. Well, the laws were, abortions were done in the 60s illegally. So the law wasn't changed. What happened is the attitude was changed and then the laws were changed. So the laws do reflect the people. So many of our problems is a reflection of, our moral behavior. And so there's a lot of responsibility on us as individuals. And assuming this responsibility is crucial. But to assume that the government is always going to be there for us to take care of us, it doesn't work. And the more the government is involved, they say, well, if you do such and such, that'll be a cost to government. Well, the government is nothing more than a thief in the night that comes and redistributes wealth. So I think the most important thing we do to carry on this revolution is to recognize that we live in dangerous time and recognize that there's a larger number than ever who now are joining in the freedom movement and believe in individual liberty, believe in the rule of law. And therefore, we have a responsibility. Individuals like you that would come out and listen to a talk like this are different than the average person. The average person is home doing something else, and then they may vote, and if they do vote, they might not ask whom they're going to vote for until the day before they vote. But individuals like you who become knowledgeable and understand the problems, I believe you have a greater responsibility. You know, if you have your head in your sand, you can't get blamed for a whole lot. I think the most important thing is to become knowledgeable, believe in it, and if you're prepared to understand what liberty is all about and you want to participate, people will ask me, what should I do? Where should I go? Well, if you're prepared and you have credible evidence that you're convinced, somebody will make use of your talents. And we all have different talents. We all have different responsibility. But if nothing else, we have responsibility for ourselves. Just think if everybody took care of themselves, what a wonderful place this world would be. We have responsibility. We have responsibility for ourselves and our families and our neighbors and local governments permissible under the Constitution. We have responsibilities that in our churches. There's a lot that can be done, and there's so much goodness out there. So we really want a healthy economy where there are more rich people, because what are they going to do with their money? They're going to help people. The money would be there, but there would be a greater amount of wealth. But we have destroyed the wealth machine in this country. And I don't think very many people I know in Washington understand how serious it is, because they think they can borrow and spend and print money and it's going to last forever. I think you know differently. I think you know how desperately we need a change. And I thank you very much for participating. It is a delight to have you here tonight.